What's up, folks? I'm live and alive, and I'm going to be talking to Yusuf in no intro. I'm going to be talking to Yusuf, who is in Gaza right now because he has a limited amount of time, and he's in Gaza. We're going to go right into it. What's up, Yusuf? Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everyone that's watching, we're talking to reachyusuf. Yusuf is 16 years old. He is currently living in Gaza, and he has a bunch of TikToks that he's done from the strip, talking about how difficult it is to get food and just like the day-to-day activities of living through this harrowing experience. And because the internet is so crazy, and because just like our world is so crazy, we get to directly talk to someone like him. And I'm very excited. It's my great honor to be able to have you on the stream, brother. How are you? How are you doing, all things considered?
An honor to be here, man. To be on the live stream.
No, the honor is mine. So for those of you who don't know, like I said, Yusuf also does like a bunch of TikToks, and they're great. They're very funny. Let's get started. Before we get to some serious stuff, let's talk about like what you do on a day to day. Like what occupies your time?
I mean, life in a war, it's pretty boring, right? There's not much to do. Like, I would say I wake up in the morning, I pray, and then I go to the market. I go to the market by walking. I walk for probably an hour. Because there's no vehicles that are going like back. Like, there's no taxis, so I have to go to the market by walking, and it's an hour away. See what's in the market, if I can buy anything, if it's not expensive, and if it's available, I'd buy something from the market. Once I'm back, it's probably like I've been in the market for like 2 hours, 3 hours, like talking about like walking back and forth. There's really not much to say. Like, you get everything done. You try to find food, you try to find water, you try to find a place to charge your phone. The day's pretty boring. There's not much to do, or not like there's not much to say about what I do.
Yeah, no, I understand. But you have I mean you shoot these things that you post on TikTok, you post on Instagram, you shoot these videos.
Yeah.
And yes, he is Yusuf is currently in Gaza as well. He's in one of the Israeli designated safer zones, from what I understand, right? And you're as safe as one can be in all things considered. How many times have you moved around at this point?
In the past, let's say 7 weeks, I've evacuated my area 3 times. So I was in my house, and then I evacuated to a tent, and then I went back to my house, and then we got an evacuation order again at my place. So I went to a place that's much farther. That place got an evacuation order, so I left again, and here I am. So it's probably around like 4 or 3 times in the past 7 weeks, which is outrageous. Imagine having to leave the area that you're comfortable in, or an area that that you feel safe in, in 3 times in a row, which is
Yeah.
And I feel like I evacuate after I feel comfortable in that area.
Yeah.
You get me? So after I left my house, I was in an apartment, and I started to get really comfortable in that area. And as soon as I got really comfortable, an evacuation order happened. So it's pretty sad.
As far as like being able to do social media goes, like are your parents happy with your social media footprint? Are they excited that you're able to show the day-to-day experiences? Has that been helpful in some ways?
I mean, yeah, my parents are completely fine with it. They find it really helpful that I can, support them financially with everything that's going on. Life in Gaza is really expensive. Food, water, rent. There are places that are for rent here. They're really expensive. Like, the prices are like New York prices,
No,
$1,200
it's
for
more
some
expensive than
places.
New York now.
So yeah,
Yeah.
my parents are really happy that I'm supporting them financially with the content.
So that plays a big role, right? Like I feel like there's a lot of there are a lot of Palestinians who are able to make content, all things considered, in spite of everything else, and then like that allows people to be able to open up like GoFundmes and like directly fund their families and in the aid and recovery efforts. What did you used to do before all this happened?
I want to answer that, but I want to add back to the last question. And my parents are really happy that I'm working with a charity. I'm raising money for a charity. I think I've raised over $1 million so far. for Human Concern International. And so we help orphans, we provide help to every people, like we give out food boxes from time to time when we can. So yeah, my parents are really happy that I'm supporting my family and the entirety of Gaza as well. I mean, before the war, I was like any other teenager. I used to go to school, play video games sometimes, hit the gym, and yeah, I was also a freelancer. I used to be a thumbnail designer and video editor. I had a lot of stuff going on before the war, and because the war happened, I can't really work my job, that job that I used to work before the war, because I don't have electricity to turn on my laptop. As a freelancer, like I need like my job, I need to run my laptop, which I can't because there's no electricity. And
Yeah.
the gym that I went to completely wiped out. It's destroyed. I made a video about it on YouTube. Yeah, my school also, I can't go to school anymore. I can't even do online school because there's no good internet. My school, there are people living in my school. They're displaced in my school, which is, kind of sad. The place that I used to study in is now a place for shelter. I was like any normal teenager.
In the
My brother's
background.
next to me. Abu, he said he doesn't look good right now. Just come on, man.
He doesn't look good right now. That's crazy.
Just say hi, bro. He said, okay, he's fixing his hair right now.
Okay, how old is your brother?
He's 14 years old. He's 2 years younger than me. It's good.
What's
Here's
good,
he. Here's
King?
Abu.
You look good. You look good, brother. You don't have to worry. Your hair looks fine.
He makes videos as well. He's
Yeah. There were some people in the chat that were saying that they love his videos as well. They wanted him to hear it. So what was your favorite subject when you were studying? Did you like school when you were going? Or did you hate?
Yeah, I did. I liked school. Nah, I liked school. My school was amazing, man. I liked the people that were there as well. And it's sad that every classmate of mine is like not in Gaza anymore. It's kind of sad and kind of I'm kind of happy for them also. It's sad because we were all so in that classroom we were also connected with each other. And now
Yeah.
we're also separated because of the war. Like some of my classmates are in the middle of the world right now, some are in Australia, some are in Egypt, some are in America. And it's sad that the war separated all of us, the bond that we had in school.
Yeah.
So yeah, my favorite subject was, I would say, physics. I was good at physics. But I would say history. Yeah, we used to
History.
study American history.
American history.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm
Civics
gonna
was
quiz you right now. What's your favorite founding father?
Bro, okay. I kind of forgot everything, man. 21 months without school, man.
I'm kidding. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm just messing with you. I don't want to put you on the spot. Oh man. So you like physics and you like history. That's cool. Do you, like you said, most of your time is preoccupied with just like going to places to get food. So let's talk about that. What does that experience look like for people in America to fully understand?
So let's say you're walking an hour every day, back and forth, like an hour to the market, staying in the market for like an hour probably, and then going back home for like that's like 3 hours, 4 hours, just trying to look for food. Like like the eggs that you have for breakfast. I mean, we don't even have eggs in Gaza. Eggs don't exist here.
Yeah.
So I would like, if you just to make breakfast in general, you have to go to the market, you have to buy wood, all of those 5 hours, and then you have to heat up the wood, 5 hours and a half, let's say, and then let's say you go out by 8 a.m. To look for to like buy food, go to the market, get wood so you can heat it up. By 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., you'll have your breakfast meal. That's if you find, good quality food to eat. Yeah, today I only ate rice and some what was it? Yeah, rice and a salad today, and that's a luxury. That's like eating from Salt Bay. I think he has a restaurant.
Salt Bay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So a lot of the stuff that normally would be, immediately something that you could like figure out immediately, you have to. It takes a long time to do. It takes a long time to conduct, and then. Is there an environment like how safe do you feel just walking around with regular frequency when you're walking around in daylight?
You're in a war. There's a chance of danger at all times. So sometimes I'd be walking and I'd be like, okay, what if a bomb drops here right now? You never know. It's like I'm walking and then I imagine as if a strike comes here, and then I imagine myself getting dragged to the hospital. It's very depressing, very sad to visualize and think about. But that just goes through my head whilst I'm walking to the street, and it's really sad that if I was like, let's say, walking in the US or walking back when I was in the UAE, I never had to think about these stuff when I was walking, like before this war happened. I never had to worry that I might die in the next minute whilst walking. And it's like you might go to the market and might like not come back home with the food needed for your family because you got striked in the market or striked whilst walking.
Yeah.
It's a really sad reality, but alhamdulillah.
When we were talking earlier before we went live, because I was driving, you said like a bomb dropped that you could hear like from in your near vicinity, and I feel like for the normal person living in the comforts of the West, like that is your lack of response to it was shocking. Like, do you feel like you've gotten like used to this sort of thing where this is just an ongoing part of everyday life at this point?
I mean, yeah, at the beginning of the war, like when a bomb drops, I used to be so scared. But now I got so desensitized to it that it's literally like a normal day thing. It's like hearing the birds chirping outside. It's really sad that we got so desensitized to stuff that we shouldn't really be desensitized to.
As far as your connection to the outside world, so I know that the internet is like very limited. How does that process work? Because I know that there's like eSIMs that people use. Like, how do you get access to the internet?
All right.
So electricity just goes out in the strip. It just happens.
It's like a battery. I think the battery just ran out of it.
Mhm.
Battery went out of battery.
Yes, this.
All right, we're back.
All right. So everything is powered by batteries, I assume, right? This is something that we've seen a lot. Like, there's not a lot of like working. There's no like electrical grid that's in operation at this point, right? In most parts of the strip.
So it's like we use batteries, and these batteries we charge them with solar power, solar panels.
Hospitals are using generators, right? Like that's just the situation, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's no fuel. There's not that much fuel, and fuel is really expensive. So let's say you do own a generator, fuel is gonna be really expensive for you. So you're not gonna run it, even if you have your own generator. Why waste your money on a few hours of electricity when you can spend it on food? If you have enough money to buy solar panels, you can use it. If your neighbor has solar panels, you'll charge your devices at his place. That's what I do. My neighbor has solar energy, solar panels, and I just charge them. I just charge my stuff at his place.
On the internet side, how does that work? Like, do you guys get eSIMs, or how is there like reliable internet?
eSIMs only work on really up-to-date devices, which are like iPhone 10 and up. My phone doesn't support an eSIM, but my neighbor's phone does. I just use his when I do have to use an eSIM. But the telecom companies do kind of work here, but there are like public Wi-Fi connections that are set up by the telecom companies, and people buy a card of someone selling it in the street. This internet card will basically give you like 6 hours of internet or 8 hours of internet. I mean, in some places that weren't, as destroyed as much, telecoms still work. Like people with routers, they still work. I remember at the beginning of the war, we had internet, and I used to power my router with a battery, and I had to evacuate my house at the beginning of the war. And then when I came back, all the internet lines were destroyed. They were cut off. From the destruction that has happened. All really like dependent on the area that you're in.
We talked about electricity. We talked about internet. What can people do in America or in the Western world to help out as many people as possible? People like yourself.
So what I would say is, listen, if you're like, let's say you're as old as me, you're 16, I would say social media. If you let's say you don't have money, you don't work a job, you don't make money, you don't make enough money to donate, or you're not in a position to donate, to help people. I would say social media is your biggest weapon. Like I have a video on TikTok that got 10 million views. If you phrase stuff the right way, if you show it the right way, you can go viral. So if you, let's say, like talk about someone's fundraiser and you talk in a specific way that makes the video go viral, yeah, you can do that. You can do that, and that's gonna do very well for you. It's very well for the, the fund, like to help. If you have enough time to do that, and if if you still want to help, if you want to find any way to help, you can do that. Let's say you don't have time to do that, but you do have the money, I would say donate. But if you can do both, donate and share on social media, interact with videos, make videos of your own, advertising, fundraisers. That's a lot already that you can do, and people like us in Gaza would appreciate that so much.
Okay, that's great advice. So, how does that process work? Because there's a lot of people that make GoFundmes and stuff, and there is a way for those funds to directly reach out, right, to the people that are in Gaza right now.
Yeah, but there's a catch. So because there's like a liquidity crisis in Gaza, there's not that much circulating money.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much money that's circulating around. You have to pay a very massive fee. And this morning, I went to the market and I went to an exchange center and I was gonna exchange like I think $2,000, which is in Gaza that's like enough for a week or two. So I exchanged $2,000 and in exchange I got $1,000, like $1,200 or $1,100 around that. And why is that? I sent him $2,000 and I use crypto to transact my fundraiser money. So I sent this guy $2,000 and I got 1,100. Why is that? Because the liquidity crisis in Gaza is there's not much money entering, and yeah, that's basically it. So we have to pay like 40% or 42% fee to get our money in our hands. Really sad that half of our money is basically gone. Like life in Gaza is so expensive already that this little thing caused such a huge problem for us.
Mm-hmm.
The liquidity crisis. Like, let's say you raise $10,000. Once you send it to Gaza, you're gonna get 6,000. Yeah.
You said earlier when we were talking that you haven't gone to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid distribution sites. In the past, from what I understand, there were 400 different aid sites all around the Strip that were operated by the United Nations, UNRWA, and many other groups like humanitarian. When normal aid distribution was happening, but the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid spots are 3. There's 4, but apparently there's only 3 that works. And even in that situation, there's a lot of chaos that takes place on these sites at the point of aid distribution. What is your reason for going to the market rather than going to those aid locations, supposedly quote unquote aid locations?
So me personally, I don't go there because I've heard some horrific stories, and I'm scared if I do go there, something might happen to me. You never know what could happen. Yeah, I'd rather spend money rather than risk my life. And some people don't have the luxury that I have. Of
Yeah.
having a fundraiser page, go to the market and just buy stuff. And a lot of people don't have that. It's like they're all almost risking their life just to get
Yeah.
food for their children.
Do you have any idea, like, what would you say? What percentage of the population would you say is like in a more fortunate position, such as yourself, where they at least have like a roof over their heads, even though their electricity is gone, and I wouldn't say your conditions are good, but as opposed to like living in a tent, it seems like it's a little bit better. It's a more privileged position. Do you have any idea what percentage of the population is currently stuck in like tents, as opposed to like being able to have shelter, like a roof over their heads? Or because you've
I
talked about your school and how people are sheltering in your school, it seems like there are a lot of people that are now devoid of a home. Like they're completely. I assume they're coming from North Gaza too, mostly, right?
and the South as well.
There are a lot of people that have been displaced and now have moved from place to place. And I'm saying, like, do you have an estimate of what the percentage of the population looks like for like how many people have been displaced?
I think it's more than 80%. So there's like, I think 6 cities in Gaza. Let me count them. So there's Rafah, Khan Yunis, there's Deir al-Balah, Zawaida, Sarat, and the north of Gaza. Let's count as that. So north of Gaza completely evacuated. Rafah completely evacuated. Khan Yunis, a huge part of it was evacuated. Only the western side or the beach side is still there. And like the people that were on the eastern side and like also on the middle side all evacuated to the western area. They're living in tents as well, and that place is like really empty, so it's just full of tents. And Deir al-Balah recently evacuated. I was in Deir al-Balah, and I evacuated to Zawaida. So there's like two cities that have not, that are not under evacuations yet. Probably 85% is.
With everything that's unfolding, you have access to the internet from time to time. You see, I assume you're like fairly tapped into what's happening in the Western world, and like, what do you say to people that after 21 months, 22 months almost of all of this chaos and violence, that still turn a blind eye to everything that's going on, to the experiences that you're having?
You won't really understand how it's like until you live it. You simply won't understand unless you live here. And there's stuff that I simply can't talk about. Not as in like someone's telling me not to talk about them. It's like stuff that just happens mentally that you won't really understand unless you're here. I would say some people really turn a blind eye to that. Gaza before the war, we were a functioning society. My classmate is on a scholarship to America. He's a really smart guy. And I think people just think that, because we're in a war and just because we're currently in a war right now and Gaza's like, they think that there are people that are, not educated, or there are people that, that they can't relate to, if that makes sense. Like, we're humans as well. People gotta realize that. We have
Yeah.
dreams, we have ambitions, and because of the war, they're all gone. Instead of, going after my dreams or continuing my education, I'm looking for food, I'm looking for water, I'm trying to find electricity. I don't even have time to be myself. I don't even have time for people, in my personal life as well. Because of the war, because of everything that's happened, I, barely call my dad as much. Because of everything that has happened, I don't have enough mental space to do that. Yeah, like we're normal people, and all of our ambitions and dreams all gone because of the war. The longer the war continues, the farther we are from our dreams. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a sad reality, but hard times make strong men. So we gotta live through the hard times.